Shalom, today is May 15th, and it is day 222 since the war began in Israel. Yesterday, Independence Day was marked/celebrated in Israel, and the newspapers will highlight that. But it is the first time, as it says here, that since 1948, Israel is marking her independence throughout an ongoing war in all fronts, or in many fronts, in Gaza, in Lebanon, in Judea and Samaria, and with the front with Iran. The headline reads, Atzmaut, independence, tachat esh, under fire. Fierce fighting in the Gaza Strip, and one civilian killed in the north, and we know more were injured also in the north. In Haaretz, there is a zoom in where the main feature picture is the Sderot picture where the people that were in the march are covering their heads, lying on the ground. That's what you're supposed to do when you hear the siren. It's the best way to protect yourselves if a missile hits. The IDF forces are operating throughout all parts of the Gaza Strip. So we can see that in the last few days, the Gaza Strip, the fighting is up again. It comes in waves, right? Up and down. Right now, we're in an increased time of battles. And the terrorists are showing themselves fighting in a guerrilla manner, meaning face to face, and they can still come out of tunnel openings and surprise the soldiers, just like it happened yesterday. Israel is at war. Israel b'milchama. Haharug ha-24, the 24th killed person since the beginning of the war in the north. Yom Krav Batzafon, a battle day in the north. And we can remember that a war was declared against Gaza, but not ever against Lebanon or Hezbollah. So it's still kind of this unclear situation. But more and more people, this time civilians, also are getting killed. The headline reads this, Nigash l'sayya lakochot. He went to help the forces, v'neherag, and he was killed from an anti-tank missile himself. And this is during the day that Israel is celebrating or marking its independence. The war in Gaza and in the north is continuing, it reads. A barrage to Mount Hermon, way up in the north, was launched as well. And also when Hezbollah was shooting in the Galilee, they were able to shoot down a surveillance military balloon which fell on Lebanese land. Here it is, right here on Lebanese land. The end does not look anywhere in the near future. Hamemshala, the government, has prolonged the agreement with the hotels in which evacuees are staying in since the beginning of the war. Down here we see vigils and demonstrations against the government from the people of the north, saying the residents of the north have no certainty and no hope, just yeush. Yeush means despair. This photograph shows us one of the demonstrations, and it reads, Mafsikim lishtok, we are quitting to be silent. Chayavim latzil et hatzafon, we must save the north. The next headline reads, still Israel b'milchama, and letzad ha'kravot ha'ikshim b'Jabalia, alongside the fierce fighting in Jabalia in the Gaza Strip, there's reports on progress of the IDF in Rafah. And here they're interviewing two soldiers. One of them was in the Gaza Strip 10 years ago, and his friend Hadar Goldin was kidnapped. He was taken into a tunnel, and he got a badge of honor trying to save him as he entered the tunnel right after the terrorist and his friend Hadar. And he walked in through the tunnel about hundreds of meters in order to rescue Hadar, which he was unable to. So he's back in Gaza now fighting, and he says, it doesn't matter where the terrorist will be. We have the might and courage to go in and take them out. Here he is, Major Eitan Fond. Here on the left, there's an opinion article about the T junction that Israel is at for the last few months. And Israel is refusing turning this way or that way. And he's speaking or conquering the Gaza Strip or releasing the hostages. And he says, the fact is that it is it's impossible to conquer the Gaza Strip completely. So what we need to do is choose releasing the hostages at any price. Turning the page to the next headline, Konenut Hag, meaning the readiness of Hague. This is the political front of Israel and the political price that Israel needs to pay for their operation in Rafah, in the southern part of the Gaza Strip. The International Court received the urgent request of South Africa that has accused Israel in the past already, in the beginning of the war, for genocide in Gaza. This weekend, there will be more discussions, public talks in The Hague in the light of the operation in Rafah. In Jerusalem, they're talking about how to handle these developments. Turkey and Egypt have already declared or announced that they intend to join the lawsuit against Israel. The headline down here reads that the operation in Rafah is endangering the relations with Egypt. And Egypt is one of the mediators between Israel and Hamas. And Israel and Egypt have been in peace for many years now. But there's increased tension now because of the Rafah operation between Jerusalem and Cairo. And even the talks about releasing the hostages have stopped in the meantime. There's another headline here that reads about a documentation of the IDF that terrorists opened in fire from an UNRWA location, an UNRWA camp in Rafah, which is supposed to be a very safe camp. UNRWA is the United Nations Relief Organization, and terrorists were firing from there. Now, this documentation is following some international criticism over Israel that a international humanitarian worker was killed from an aerial attack of the IDF. Well, if the terrorists are working from within UNRWA, UNRWA needs to take some action. Next headline is about the gloomy independence, Atzmaut Aguma. The scars and the tears in the Israeli society have darkened on the Memorial Day and Independence Day. And I'm reading, what's supposed to be a festive ceremony for independence was recorded ahead of time and without any audience. This is in case the siren would happen and they wouldn't be able to broadcast it as they should on TV that evening. Little attendance in cemeteries in the north, as in Memorial Day, people usually go to the graves and gather there in the cemeteries. Well, this time there was very little of it in the north because of the war. There were sirens that were heard in the middle of the march in Sderot. And the Prime Minister Netanyahu did not take part in any of the events of Independence Day. So like everything else since October 7th, also the two most symbolic days of Israel, Memorial and Independence, looked different this year. And also I can add, also in cities, there was almost no celebrations of big stages and dancing, and the independence in Israel is very much celebrated. This year it was much more quiet, much more sad. And lastly, it reads here all in blue and white, Lamrot hakol, despite it all, Atzmaut, independence. After a very charged Memorial Day, came Independence Day, a different kind of Independence Day. It was quiet, sad, very thoughtful, without very big celebrations, without fireworks, but with a lot of strength and hope for better days. We have a lot of reasons to be proud this year as well. And you heard photographs and some articles about the different events and moments that happened yesterday. One of them is an outstanding award ceremony that's held every year. It happened this year too, in the presence of Herzog, which is the president of Israel. It's a very special ceremony. And I want to end with this one. This is a little peek into Israeli society. What do we do on Independence Day? We go have picnics with families and friends in different parks, and usually with barbecue for some reason. So this happened yesterday as well. 90,000 Israelis were out in the parks, celebrating and barbecuing in a little different atmosphere. But last year, it says that there were 210,000 that visited the parks. This year, 90,000. And some reservist soldiers that were out for a break and enjoyed the parks said, we came to enjoy after five months of service in the north. This is life. This is the reality in the country of Israel. And for this, we're fighting. So like the title says, despite it all, independence. For more updates and stories, follow us on social media. Visit us at allisrael.com. Like this video if you liked it and share it with your friends. This is Rotem Magen for All Israel News.